So back in 2021, I officially began collecting Cabbage Patch dolls. And if you've been watching my channel since then you might remember that in November of that year, I uploaded my first Cabbage Patch collection video. And in the 3 years since, our collection grew relatively slowly because we would only buy like a random Cabbage Patch doll here or there because we had so much luck in the beginning. And, you know, we bought a lot of them in the beginning. And at the time I didn't have like a good space for them. But we were recently, as we're filming this in July of 2024, given 10 Cabbage Patch dolls. So I thought, since we were redoing the whole album and updating the photos and all of that, it would be a good time to update the collection, and there was enough dolls to warrant it. Now, this collection video, we have all of the dolls arranged in the order we got them, kind of like we do with American Girl, because so many of them are like from 1985. My personal favorite Cabbage Patch dolls to collect are the 1980s ones made by Coleco. But we do have a few like other types, and also the soft sculptured ones from the 80s. I just really love the ones from the 80s, and I think that's because the ones we had growing up, which were secondhand, they were from the 80s, so I feel like nostalgia for them even though I'm a 90s kid. But they are all wearing like their outfits, their original outfits, their meat outfits if you will, or something that would be era appropriate, because not all of them had like their clothes when we got them.
There were a few instances where we don't have anything comparable to what they would have come in, so we put them in something that fit well and looked good for the video.
Normally our Cabbage Patch dolls are not wearing like the outfits we got them in because we love to buy them clothes, especially ones from Babyland. I actually have like an order coming that I got myself for my birthday, which is a little tradition I have, so they're not going to be staying in these outfits long. And we would have done the update with them wearing whatever, however, because we were redoing all our Flickr photos for their guide pictures, they are modeling the era appropriate attire. I'm not going to be showing all the outfits I have or accessories like I did in my first video because I have more dolls and way too many clothes now. But you can check out my Cabbage Patch album on Flickr. You don't need a Flickr to view it if you want to see all of the clothes we have or read more about them. It's on the second page of albums if you're wondering. We have every doll documented on there, and Cabbage Patch dolls, if you don't collect them, because it's a little confusing, most of them are like randomized. They're just generically sold. Their butt stamps tell you the date. They come with computer generated names, so you might have a doll that looks exactly like my like Baby Martin, but they're not all called that. It's just like all randomized. And they do have a few like special edition type releases like the Circus Kids or the twins, but a lot of times their clothes will get put in fashion packs or will be thrown on dolls later on. So it's kind of a free-for-all, especially with the Coleco ones. And so they're not like, they tend to span like certain chunks of time for release, and a lot of the outfits don't have like official names, so if you're like confused about that, and likewise the soft sculpture dolls are made by like an artist, and the artist like will randomly name them, and they're just dressed in like sometimes human baby clothes, so it's not like, they're not characters. So if you're trying to identify Cabbage Patch dolls, that's like, you're probably not going to find like an exact title. It's probably just like a year.
Exactly.
And if their butt stamp is worn off, then you won't know. And some of them aren't not like labeled, like the year isn't on the butt stamp, but there's websites that you can use to date your Cabbage Patch doll.
Websites and books.
Yeah, there's like a lot of ways you can figure out how old they are. So I was confused, so I thought I'd share that info if you are new or you just don't know anything about them. But I think they're really fun. I have like a nostalgia for them, and since I was a kid even, I would see Cabbage Patch dolls out and about, and I kind of wanted to collect them. And it just culminated in 2021 when I was like writing on my Cabbage Patch Kids cradle that I had left over from childhood on Flickr, and like it just went from there, and I just fully immersed myself in it, and Colleen got on board.
Yes, it's funny. I thought maybe she'd get on board with my Magic Attic thing, the way I got into the Cabbage Patch thing, but that hasn't happened.
No, I love baby dolls. I think they're really cute. I know they're creepy to some people, but I hope you enjoy meeting them all. And let's get into the collection video. So it all started in July of 2021 with Baby Martin, my very first Cabbage Patch doll I had as an adult collector. So he was exactly what I wanted when I was like thinking about Cabbage Patch dolls. I loved the bald ones. I always loved bald baby dolls the best, and I wanted a boy. And I wanted a calico one, and wouldn't you know, Colleen had said, I remember seeing Cabbage Patch dolls at that antique store Dad used to take us to, and I was kind of skeptical, but we made a special trip, and sure enough, in one of the booths, there was Baby Martin stuck back inside his original box, and he was $35, so I thought I'd like walk around and think about it, and even though that was kind of expensive, because he was exactly what I wanted, and he was like, obviously never played with and probably
I mean, he was a bald baby in a realistic baby outfit. That was all the criteria Shelly wanted.
So I ended up buying him, and I remember being in the Jeep as soon as we got out of the store, and we pulled him out of the box. His shoes were really sticky. His face was starting to get kind of sticky, but it was love. Like, when I saw him and I held him, we both felt this, like, magic. And
we became obsessed.
The idea of just having the one Cabbage Patch doll with lots of clothes, yeah, in that moment, I knew that that probably wouldn't work out. So he didn't have his paperwork with him, so I just gave him the name Baby Martin. But he is still my favorite of all the manufactured Cabbies.
And what I really remember about that day is that because it was like that weird part of the pandemic where is it over, is it not over, are we technically allowed to go over the state line to this antique store? It was like weird because the whole time I was like, are we supposed to be here?
Not long after, so I think it was like in August.
It was around your birthday.
Yeah.
I think it was your birthday present.
I really wanted a soft sculpture doll, a bald one. And I had actually like bought a Buy It Now baby Otis, who is like one of the special edition dolls, for like $85.
Yep.
The seller messaged me and said, oh, I mislabeled the price. It's $185. I obviously wasn't going to buy him, and I was really bummed out because I loved baby Otis. I thought he was so cute. Colleen found me this Cabbage Patch soft sculpture preemie doll on Mercari, and it's actually my most expensive Cabbage Patch doll. And the funny thing is, he was just wearing like real baby clothes from like Carter's brand. He was $116 all said and done. But I remember the day he came in the mail, Colleen was at her summer school job, and I was about to head out to work, and the package came, I opened him up, and as soon as I pulled him out of the little plastic bag he was in, I looked at him and I said, I love you so much, or something to that effect. He was just so magical, and I was so excited to have him. So most of them are wearing like the outfits we got them in, or like era appropriate outfits, but I didn't get him in an era appropriate baby outfit. It was like clearly a newer outfit. He was from an estate sale. That's what the person on Mercari said.
Oh yeah. So we just put him in a Babyland outfit.
Yes, which he's a little busting out of, but he's very cute. Hi, Oliver. Of course, he comes down. I didn't know a lot about like the size of Cabbage Patch dolls and like what the like sizing meant, like what the difference between kids and preemies was, because I only had like these two for reference. So later on that summer, I remember I found a listing on eBay for Murphy, Alistair, and Francisca Teresa. They were together in a lot with a case and a bunch of like clothes. It was clear that they were probably some kids that had been left untouched since the 80s. It was a really great deal, and I was excited about all of the clothes and the fact that he had like a binky mouth. I'm not really sure their genders might have gotten swapped at one point, but based on what they were wearing, I'm pretty sure he's Murphy and she's Francisca.
And I was like obsessed with Oliver. I was obsessed with the idea of these two. I was calling them twins, and it was like a bee in my bonnet that I just couldn't get out of my head until Shelly agreed we'd buy them. Yeah. I absolutely love them.
They were filthy too, like they were pretty gross.
Oh yeah.
And Francisca looks just like Baby Martin, except she's got like the shrunken head, like it's a smaller version of that head mold. Now Colleen found the next group.
This is what happens when we're up at night shopping. Really.
2 sets of twins. In my first video, if you remember, from 2021, Colleen actually dressed Renata up
in one of their outfits.
And then in the middle of the video, we had to fix it.
Evelyn Rosalie, Jenny Megan, and it's Jenny with a G for some reason. Eric Laurie and Mark Allen.
Yes, and I'm sorry.
He's been lonely.
I know. They were all together, and I think it was like less than $100 all said and done, which was a pretty good deal because they were all like clearly not played with, and they had like their shoes and stuff. They're not wearing them, but like they had their adoption papers. And the reason I wanted this set is because growing up, we had 2 Cabbage Patch Kids. we had, actually, I think 3. I think we had
both
We
boys,
had,
'cause
like,
I thought one had a molded binky.
2 boys with these same tan loops and blue eyes. I don't remember
In that exact outfit.
what head molds they had, but they were in these yellow knit
I'm
overalls.
pretty sure they were literally this exact set of twins. One with the binky, one with the tooth.
Like, that was what I remembered. I remember going in, funnily enough, my toy chest, just right here, and I would, like, pull them out and play with them. And we also had a talking Cabbage Patch doll. So I really wanted to have, like, the Cabbie that we grew up with, the boy doll that I remembered. So that's why Calling found the lot. She, like, kind of begged me to get it. So we ended up getting Eveline and Jenny as sort of like a bonus, and they're really cute. The tooth head mold here that Jenny and Derek have, they're my favorites. And I don't know who is who, like whose name went to who, so we just kind of picked like which doll was Jenny and which doll was Eveline. But they're in really nice condition, although they smelled kind of sour for a long time, even though I washed them right away. Then we have one of my favorites. This is Dennis Paul.
My main man.
So at our local flea market, I remembered like the year before, maybe even a year before that, I saw a guy with Cabbage Patch dolls. It looked like they were wearing like real clothes, and even well before I had gotten into the idea of officially getting into Cabbies, I remember being interested. I, like, for a long time had contemplated cabbages. I saw I think it was the same guy with Cabbage Patch dolls, and I saw Dennis Paul sitting in this cute little outfit with the bonnet, and I was just so drawn to him. And I remember kind of like being nervous to go and ask how much he was, because this was like, again, right like during the pandemic, so it was like really extra uncomfortable going shopping, and as it is I get anxious. But Colleen asked how much they were, and they were $20 each, I think.
20 or 25, I can't remember.
Yeah, so we ended up just picking him, but he did have other dolls, and we liked him so much that we did end up later on getting more. You'll see them in a minute. So he's named Dennis Paul after my dad, because when my dad was younger, he had reddish brown hair and brown eyes. And then we have Picasso. He is really cool. He is a Jesmar doll. So if you're not a Cabbage Patch collector, there's different like manufacturers that made the Cabbage Patch dolls in the 80s because they were so popular, so in different countries. So you can see his eyes are really dull. That's something with the Jesmar dolls. The hair is also like a thinner yarn. The bodies are taller.
The freckles were also very popular among the Jesmars.
Yeah. He's kind of like a cheaper version of the Coleco dolls. We were at the local flea market sometime that summer, early fall in 2021, and we were walking by, like, there are people who have like booths where it's just literally crap in random containers, and you just like dig through it. And as I was walking by one of the clear containers, I saw like a foot, and I was like, ooh, Cabbage Patch doll. And when I dug him out, I realized right away by the freckles, I was like, I think he's Jesmar. And sure enough, he was. He had like the Made in Spain tag, which is really cool, and this is like his actual like Jesmar outfit. It has like the Made in Spain thing too on the inside. And the guy was like, oh, you're buying my Cabbage Patch. I don't remember how much it was. I think like $5. He's one of my coolest ones, and he can fit some of like the weirdly sized Babyland clothes that my other dolls are either too short or too tall for. Then we have Anna Teresa, Wendy, and Daniel Joseph. So these are the 3 other Cabbage Patch dolls. There's a few more you'll see later on. But the other Coleco Cabbage Patch dolls that the guy that had Dennis Paul had at his booth.
The Cabbie guy, because he sold us that many Cabbies.
It was like a rainy day at the flea market. When we went, the weather looked questionable, but while we were there, it started sprinkling. And I remember we had thought about going back to get Anna Teresa because she has these really cool teeth.
We named her after my meme.
Yes, and we thought that she was wearing a nice outfit. So we went and we bought her first, and he said, I think we could have her for $15.
Something like that.
And then when we kind of doubled back around, he said we could have a rainy day discount on the other 2 as well. So we bought Anna Teresa like 5 minutes before, and then when we came back, he said we could have Wendy and Daniel Joseph. Now, Wendy was wearing a non-Cabbage Patch outfit, and Daniel Joseph was wearing the mouse sleeper. Wendy has a little chip in her nose because our chinchilla Napoleon was playing with her one day. I used to have them on the living room couch, like on the back of it, and when the chinchillas were out for playtime, I didn't think he would bother them, and he was like kind of just cuddling with them, but then, you know, as rodents do. So it's just like a little nick right there, but she's fine otherwise. She does have some cabby pox. And then And Daniel Joseph is one of my favorites. I know, you're thinking he looks just like the twins. No, he has the potato face mold, and he has like these beautiful, perfect loops, and he's just got like, he's perfect. He's everything a Cabbage Patch doll aspires to be. I just love him.
Shelly's not biased in his favor at all.
I just love him, and that's like a running joke now when a doll is like a prime example of what they should be. I always say they're like Daniel Joseph. My very first Kusa, Tucker, he's one of the cat Kusas.
Cute.
Colleen and I saw him right when we were walking into the flea market one day. He was at a booth with a bunch of like porcelain dolls. He was wearing a like real baby shirt.
And I just felt so bad. I'm like, he has no mommy. He needs a home.
He was filthy. Like to date, he was my dirtiest Cabbage Patch doll. And I've gotten some really disgusting ones before, but he was like brown and had what looked like reddish brown.
It looked like barbecue sauce.
I put the picture in my last video. I'll put it in again here because it was disgusting. Like, I had to, like, OxyClean him and spot treat with some bleach.
He still smells like OxyClean. That's how
yeah, but I loved the idea of the Kusas from the moment I learned that they existed in the Cabbage Patch books I got. And Colleen at first thought it was, like, a weird idea, but I don't know. I just found them really charming, and I love the cat ones and the lion ones the best. So it was really exciting getting him. And we got him this outfit later on. Monty is nude because we don't have another Kusa outfit for him that's like period accurate, but he has stripes, so he kind of looks clothed. We found him not that long after. I saw him on top of a container underneath a booth at the local flea market. The lady selling him, I think, said we could have him for $2.
Something like that, 2 or 3.
Yeah, and I thought it was really cool that he was also a cat, but like the brown version with the stripes. I
love Monty.
And he was in much better shape than Tucker.
And Tucker cleaned up just good.
We have the lovely Joy Irene, who's another tooth one. She is named after my mom because my mom had blonde hair and blue eyes when she was growing up. I had been wanting a girlfriend for Dennis Paul to be my mom, so like I would have like my mom and dad as Cabbage Patch dolls. And we were at the flea market, again, that same like summer, fall, I forget when this was. The way they had it at the inside portion of the flea market in the building, you had to like go through this like specific maze because of like the pandemic rules. So we ended up getting funneled out of like a different door than we would usually leave. And I saw a container that had a Cabbage Patch doll in it at a guy's booth. And I went and looked over, and when I picked her up, I saw the tooth and the blonde hair and the blue eyes, and I knew like I really wanted her, and I think she was like really cheap, like $5 or less. She wasn't wearing like a good outfit, and she was really gross. These are like the holiday babies. We have Corinne.
Corinne actually had a name tag stuff.
Yes, so that's her factory name. And they are Mattel dolls. And then there's Daisy, who's a Hasbro doll. So these were also at Cabby Guy's booth, so where we got Dennis Paul from.
So we have 7 from him in all.
So he would be like, oh, I know you guys. You bought my Cabbage Patch dolls. And he beckoned us over to the table one day, and he's like, oh, look, I have more. I found them. And I forget what deal he gave us. I think we got all 3 for like $10 or something.
They were very cheap.
Colleen didn't initially want them, but I was like, it was really nice that he kind of brought them in for us. I always wanted like an Asian one, and she's just so cute, and I figured why not get the other two.
And funnily enough, I found out like, I think it was like a year later, that Cabby Guy, I forget his real name, actually knows my friend Steph from work. We used to work together, her husband. So I like saw him at a cookout like a year later.
And he recognized her.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Sheldon, he's a preemie. So if you know my American Girl collection, you may remember my girl of the year, Lindsay. Well, that seller, she always has like a lot of big dolls at her booth.
She's been set up there forever.
Yeah, forever, like years, like probably over 10 years. And she's still there as we're filming this. You'll see another doll we got from her in a little bit. But I noticed she had Cabbies, and her prices are kind of like expensive. They're not like terrible, but like it has to be something specific you want. So what drew me to Sheldon was his green eyes and his bald head, and I just thought he was really interesting looking. He was $15, which was a lot considering he's tiny, and he wasn't wearing this outfit. He was wearing like some tights and some other outfit.
Yeah, he was wearing like a mixture of boy and girl clothing.
But I just thought he was really cool, and so I bought him. Now the next ones, we have Renata, Tamanella, Muffy, Landon, and Nala. We got all of them together at Savers on Halloween.
Yeah, it was like either Halloween or the day before Halloween.
Yeah, in 2021. So back then, where we went to have our like eye appointments, the eye doctor's office was located like right near Savers. We don't live like particularly close to like a Savers. We don't live near any Goodwills, so it's kind of like a treat to get to go. So that was always our thing that we did after our eye doctors back when we went to this particular place. We would stop in at Savers after. But that day that we had an appointment, which was before Halloween, I was having problems with my Jeep. We ended up having to like go straight to my uncle's so he could sort it out. It wasn't even a really big issue. It was just like one of the lights kept coming on.
And Shelly said to me, oh, well, once the Jeep is fixed, we can go up to Savers. We'll just make a special trip. So I literally waited for the first weekend the Jeep was fixed. I said, so when are we going to Savers? And Shelly's like, I didn't like literally mean the moment. And I'm like, what? I thought you literally meant the moment.
And it was pouring rain. Really big Savers, like huge. At the back is where the toys are. And they have like these shelves where the bigger dolls and like toys go. And from the distance, I saw Nala's butt. And I knew from afar, that's a Kusa. I don't know how. I have great doll vision. So
and she was our first one that had her outfit.
I booked it over, and I saw her, and I didn't even register she has her outfit. I was just so happy to find one that was like a lion. So I wanted Landon. Most of them aren't wearing what we got them in. Well, these two aren't, I should say. These three are. I wanted Landon because he's bald with a tuft, and I had been wanting one. He's a preemie. And then Colleen wanted us to grab Muffy because she was the only Coleco doll we'd leave behind. There was also, I think it was the same doll as Corinne.
Yeah.
She had cut hair, so we didn't take her.
But we have what I think are her underwear. Muffy's wearing them.
I think they all got donated together based on the condition and the age. I wanted Tamanella because I love her lemon loops and her tooth. And Colleen wanted Renata. I was going to leave Renata behind.
I was like, why are you walking away from her? And she goes, she looks just like the twins. And I'm like, no, we need her.
Patrick.
Another one I vouched for.
He was wearing these overalls, but this shirt goes to something else. So it was that same like fall. We were about to leave the flea market, and this guy had a blanket with stuff scattered all over it, and there was a lone Cabbage Patch doll. And when I saw him, I was like, oh, he's just another like tan looped cabbie boy, and he doesn't even have a shirt under the overalls. But
I could tell by looking at them that like we'd be stupid to walk away even just from those overalls for $1.
Yeah,
like,
he said it was
based
$1.
on his date and stuff, I was like, it would just make so much sense to rescue him.
Yeah, and the guy had him for $1, and he said that I guess he had a bunch of Cabbage Patch dolls, and he had taken them to a different flea market, and some lady, I think, bought all of them, but Patrick got left behind. He forgot to put him out or something, so it's really sad. And you might remember him. He played our Ghost of Christmas Present in our 2023 Christmas skit, so
I think he was someone's favorite character.
yeah, I had a lot of fun doing him. He has his own voice. And then we have, besides Baby Martin, my favorite of them all, the one, the only, Baby Otis. Baby Otis is kind of like one of the special edition types where you would order him and he would come in like the same outfit and with like a birth certificate and stuff, so he is really Baby Otis. So I didn't know when I was first looking and researching Cabbage Patch dolls, like I didn't understand the format of the line. Because Cabbage Patch dolls are very different than like other things I collect. But
And the first Baby Otis you'd seen was on Mercari.
Yes, and I fell in love. I saw his name was Otis. And I knew that was some kind of character. So I just kept looking. I didn't realize he was like a fancy edition that originally retailed for like $500. I didn't know that. So then I had bought that one that the seller said he priced wrong. And I was like I had bid on a few, but the price always went too high. It's like the weekend of like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So everybody's money was kind of tied up in buying like gifts and stuff for the holiday season. I had seen him earlier on eBay. I had been watching him for a few days. He had he does have his rattle, it's upstairs. He had everything except his blanket. He even had like all of his paperwork. So I was like, okay, I kind of came up with like my max price in mind, and I bid on him, and I ended up getting him for $107 all said and done.
He was cheaper than Ralphie.
I know. So, and that's like a pretty good deal for him because like he retailed for $500. I don't think he had ever been undressed. He must have just sat around like on display somewhere. He was so dusty. He's the doll I use in my How I Clean Soft Sculptured Cabbage Patch Dolls videos. You can see how dirty he was. Like he had like dust tan lines. His diaper was like brown. I felt so bad for him, but like I just can't with this doll. Every time I see him, I talk to him in a baby voice. I love to hold him and cuddle him. It's like very therapeutic. I just love him. Like, I didn't want him because he was collectible. I just fell in love with him. This talking Cabbage Patch doll named Mallory. So when we were growing up, we had a talking Cabbage Patch doll. She was like the first one we both remember having, and the story behind that doll is that our Auntie Kim used to work at the Salvation Army, and someone had donated a bunch of brand new talking Cabbage Patch dolls. This was sometime like in the late 80s or early 90s. So she bought them all because they were really cheap, and she decided to give one to each girl in the family. So my grandmother had one, and then she gave one to Colleen and one to her own daughter, and so on and so forth. I wasn't born yet, so we know this was before 1991. The blonde talking doll was ours, and then our grandmother had a redhead with a blue dress. And I remember every time we'd go over Meme's, we would see in her spare room where she kept all of her porcelain dolls, I loved her Cabbage Patch doll. And sadly, I don't know what happened to like our doll. I know I played with her after Colleen got bored, but and Mom and Dad hated that doll because she had like a really annoying voice, like I'm thirsty, like she was really whiny. So Mom must have like gotten rid of her, like she always did with our toys.
Oh, especially when the doll started to sing. She drove me crazy.
Oh, yeah. When our Meme was sick, all of her stuff had to get moved into our house. And we did have her doll, but we weren't collecting dolls. And when we were going through her stuff after she passed away a few years later, and we were picking out which dolls we wanted to keep, and this was like right when we got back into collecting, I wanted to keep her Cabbage Patch doll, but Colleen vetoed it, and she ended up regretting it more than me.
Yes.
Which is why she really wanted a talking Cabbie. So she'd even priced them out on eBay. February 2022, it was like the day Colleen found out she was having to change like which school in the district she worked in.
It was the end of January, actually, because
Yeah.
it was like less than a week before my birthday.
I had a dentist appointment that day. She was having a terrible day because she found out she had to move schools. And, you know, when you're working somewhere for a long time, that's hard. So, you know, it was just like a really bad day. And we went into this store. It was in an unusual spot in the basement. It's not like where the toys usually are. I found her sitting with some Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls, and I immediately recognized her. She was wearing this whole outfit. And I think she was $15, which wasn't terrible considering how nice she was. We named her Mallory.
Oh, these are the men in my life.
Our soft sculpture dolls.
Oscar Daniel.
And Baldwin Lance. We'll start with Baldwin over here because Baldwin was on Mercari the year before. So a whole year before. This was like April 2022 when we got these two. But she had seen him in 2021 on Mercari when we were looking for bald soft sculptures. Colleen
And he was
loved
my
him.
Otis. Like, I was obsessed.
He was $300 though, which, I mean, even as a new Cabbie collector, like, we know that was ridiculous. Colleen kept checking on him, like, a whole year. And eventually the price kept going down and down and down and down. And so it was her April vacation from
And we were both miserably sick with the flu.
yeah, we both had the flu. Colleen saw that he was still available, and I said, oh, well, I'll make an offer, and he can be like an Easter gift for you. And we ended up getting him for, funnily enough, I think it was like $107 all said and done. And he was a lot like Otis. He had like the tan lines from the dust. He had clearly never been undressed. Must have been bought at the store because he had like the little like tag thing that they pin on him. But I wanted my own softie. So I had seen Oscar on eBay for, you know, not quite a year, but like close to it. And he had been originally like $250, and the price kept going down and down and down and down. And I remember this was actually on Easter Sunday when I made an offer.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved his outfit, and I just thought he was so cute. I ended up getting him like right around like $105, $106. It was very close. Like all three of them were close.
And Ralphie really wasn't that much more.
Even though we had ordered Baldwin first, Oscar's seller shipped him sooner. Baldwin seller took their sweet time. So by that point, I'm sick with the flu now when Oscar comes, and Colleen's opening him up, and she stole my doll.
I got lost in his brown eyes.
He sleeps in her bed.
I dressed him in this Winnie the Pooh outfit that says, busy being cute.
Yeah.
So I kept telling Shelly, Oscar is unavailable. He's busy. He's busy being cute. And I just got totally obsessed with him. And I just loved him so much. Like, I still do. He does. He sleeps in my bed every night. That's why his head's just a little bit dirty.
So poor Baldwin, when he showed up in the mail, her heart already belonged to Oscar. And I actually ended up liking Baldwin better in person than Oscar because the shape of his head is
so
very
cute.
a la Baby Martin, but as a softie. He lives in Colleen's room too, so she kind of ended up with both of them.
I still love him.
Not fair.
I still
Like, and Oliver loves Oscar because Colleen loves Oscar.
And so he's always on top of him. And
Fern, she's a redhead. And I had wanted a redhead because I thought that they were really unique looking. It's fall of 2022. You might remember if you watch a lot of our haul videos, there used to be this elderly couple that we would buy dolls from for years, from like 2012 onward. They recently stopped setting up. One day, they had like, I think 3 Cabbage Patch dolls and some Sunshine Family dolls. Prices like were never terrible, but like sometimes their nicer things would be a little bit more money. I think she was like $8 or $12. Decided just to buy her instead of all of them because she was a redhead and she's like from the later 80s.
if other people hadn't bought those other dolls, we might have.
Yeah, we would have picked them off because I did that with the Sunshine Family dolls. Yeah, she's really pretty and unique. We have Laura. She is a Mattel
Keepsake?
keepsake collection. She's like pierced ears and these like inset eyes and lashes. And then we have Almanzo, who's a twin. So these two were gifts. It was like the Thursday before Christmas. There was like a box delivered to her house, and I was really confused because I hadn't ordered anything. I peeked inside and I realized that someone had sent us like a box of dolls as a gift. And we ended up dubbing this the Broadway Belle box. Transformation video on my channel of that. And that is where Laura and Almanzo came from. So Laura, this is not her outfit, this is a Babyland outfit. She was just in like a random orange dress that wasn't Cabbage Patch, and she does have like all.
It is very cute though.
Almanzo was wearing this, so that's why we think he's a twin.
From 86.
He looks a lot like Dennis Paul, but with the binky mouth. And their names are because I was rereading the Laura Ingalls Wilder Little House on the Prairie series, and I had been like really into reading those, and I just thought Almanzo was a really cute name, and they were a couple, so she became Laura. And I actually really think she kind of creeped me out at first. Once I cleaned her up, I was like, she's actually cute. So from that same person, she ended up giving us like over the span of a few months, like 3 different groups, and then like a 4th the year later. March of 2023, she sent us 2 huge boxes, which we dubbed the Mountains of Monsters lot. I have a haul video and a transformation video of some of the dolls from that lot, because it was like over 100 dolls, I think.
Yeah, it was really nice of her.
This was the Cabbage Patch doll she sent us. She has the tongue. She was my first for the tongue mold. We named her Kelly after the lovely lady who gave her to us. And she was wearing this shirt, really cute, and I love this head mold.
So cute.
She wasn't like dirty, like none of them are that dirty. So then we have Nathan. He's our only African American cabbie to date, but I have wanted one since I started collecting them. So at the very end of the summer in 2023, the lady we got Sheldon from, so the person we bought American Girl Lindsay from in 2016, she had him and he caught my eye. And I was like, oh, it's an African American cabbie and he's wearing like an 80s outfit. And I had priced these dolls out on eBay and almost bought like them a few times, and it was a boy, so you couldn't get any better than that. So she knew who we were, and well, I was asking I think 20, but I know you give him a good home or something, so she gave us a deal on him, and his name is Nathan,
and he's adorable.
And I love his like cut loops and how shaggy they are. It's very interesting. That same fall in 2023 is one of the last days we went to the flea market. I saw a guy had this Kusa all by himself. I think he was $10, which was a little bit more than I wanted to pay. So after we walked around, we came back to get him. He is a lion Kusa.
He's got an interesting like skin tone, fur tone, because like he's darker than Tucker, but like lighter than Tabby.
And the lion Kusas are probably my favorite. We named him Clarence. Last but not least, we have all of these, which were gifts. I'll go through their names really quickly. So we have Brigitte, and we named them all. Brigitte, Lenore the Circus Kid, Noah, Dorothy, Delilah, Penelope, Winnie, who's a corn silk kid, Poppy, Sarita, who's a world traveler Spain, and Tabby, who's a Kusa. As we're filming this, it was a couple weeks ago in July of 2024, we got 2 boxes of dolls that were generously sent to us from the same people who gave us Lainey in 2020. The first box that arrived, I thought it was the big box because they had said in like the note in the box that there were 2 boxes. I thought that this was the big box because it had Brigitte and Lenore, but no, the big box had all of them and some other stuff. So they showed up first, And I was so excited when we found Brigitte at like the bottom of the box because at the
And
flea
she was
market,
what made the box heavy.
yeah, at the flea market, I think the summer before.
2022 actually, because it was the year you got Kanani.
Someone had a soft sculptured girl for $50, which was a good deal, but like I don't usually carry that kind of cash with me at the flea market, and I just was like, I don't really need to spend $50.
And she looked a lot like this. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
So we were really excited to get her. Her butt stamps kind of rubbed off some, so I don't know what date she officially is, but based
Baldwin's butt stamps rubbing off too. It's just it was still legible when he got her.
But based on like her tag, not the date on the tag, but the kind of tag, and my research, she's from somewhere between 1980 and 1982. So that's really cool.
So she's our oldest.
Of all of them. And then this is Lenore. She has a little tooth mold. She's a circus kid. And the funny thing is, I've seen a few lemon looped toothed Cabby dolls. Someone had one boxed at the flea market, but she was like 30 or 35. I believe the elderly couple we got from had like a later 80s doll with like the same that looked just like her. So I was really excited to get her. Then we have Noah. You can never go wrong with the tan looped dolls. It was really stinky and like water stained. They smelled pretty bad, but it's like it's from being donated and from being like 40 years old. I mean, and being cloth. That's kind of comes with the territory.
Well, and also something about this fabric.
Yeah.
It's like it retains stuff.
And their heads like hold on odor. And I mean, even if they're kept like clean, they kind of smell. Then we have the lovely Dorothy.
She cleaned up really well.
We named a bunch of them after our guinea pigs because, you know, we've never gotten that many in one go, and I wanted to like remember their names. So I thought when we got the second box, I was like, let's name some after the guinea pigs.
And she, the funny thing is, she actually kind of just ended up being Dorothy because all the other names were taken.
Like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz.
Ah, it's smart. She's very vibrant and lively, which suits because that's how our guinea pig Dorothy is.
Pretty food.
My first thing when Shelly said we have to name them after the guinea pigs was this has to be Delilah because she had that. I wouldn't call it a tan, but like
she had like black, like actual
like
black,
grayish, purplish. Yeah, you see it a lot on Cabbage Patch dolls. And what mystifies me is it's only on their skin. Their clothes don't get it.
Yeah,
it's like their arms, their legs. It's like the Cabby tan, but it's not good.
So she wanted to name her Delilah because our guinea pig named Delilah. She's really furry and she's lazy, and she also has an awkward gait because of like some leg injuries she had when like way before we had her. So she like kind of wobbles like a penguin, and so Colleen thought she's dirty, like Dirty Delilah the guinea pig. And then we have Penelope, who I named after my beloved guinea pig Penelope, because I had always wanted one of these cabbies with like the cool hairdo. They kind of remind me of like Grecian princesses.
Yes, they're adorable.
And she's like really, like she was really clean looking, considering, and like, yeah, I just love her. And I love this velour suit she was wearing.
So cute.
She has the tongue mold like Kelly, but she's a corn silk kid with the like rooted hair. It looks a little wild, sorry. She actually kind of facially reminds me a lot of like Meme's talking doll. I mean, she didn't have the tongue, but we actually already had a corn silk outfit. She was the only one that was wearing like the improper attire. And then we have Poppy.
She's their first to have the monkey face.
Yes, she's cute, and our guinea pig Poppy is a monkey, so. Sarita we named because she is a world traveler in Spain, and my name in Spanish class was Sarita in school. We have Tabby, and she actually is my only Kusa that has the collar, and she's my second girl Kusa because she was wearing her dress.
And her dress is in better shape than Nala's by like far.
I hope you all enjoyed meeting all of the Cabbies. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you want to see pictures of them, see all the clothes I have for them, like read information about them, feel free to check out my Cabbage Patch Kids album on Flickr. You don't need a Flickr to view it. And until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.